She says, I should tell you, Frida Weisel, you also have a little scandal in your past.
Hello and welcome back to this channel. My name is Frida Weisel, and this channel I explore Jewish life, Hasidic Judaism, and recently I've been doing a series of videos on the Jewish Catskills, the Green Mountainous region in upstate New York, that is part of so many people's joyous summer memories. You might know that for Hasidim, this has been a place of memories too, albeit with different conservative culture. And so today, for my long-form interview series, we're going to discuss memories of the Hasidic Catskills. Originally, I had booked the famous comedian Leah Forrester for this segment because she's been putting out a lot of content about the country and other brilliant, fantastic content. But Leah canceled on me last minute, so I got this woman instead. What's your name? Thank you for coming on such short notice, and what's your name?
Hello. My name is Bailey. I'm in the country now.
Amazing, I see. So, Bailey, I'm really distracted by the phone in your turban.
Oh, okay, fine. It's Nichi. She doesn't stop. Listen, I told you can't listen to the podcast while I'm recording. Because it's not Yasherisdik. I can't explain. Okay, she says, I should tell you, Frida Weisel, you also have a little scandal in your past, but I'm not gonna go into it on the air. I have to call you back. Michi, I'll call you back. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna adjust. I hope it's okay. Okay, I hope you didn't see anything you shouldn't see.
No,
Sorry.
of course not. Is Nichi in the bungalow next to you?
No, Michi's in a different country than me. I'm in Monticello. She goes to a country by Saffolsberg, different country.
It's a different country. Can you explain for my viewers who are not so familiar with Hasidic life, since you're a Hasidic woman, can you explain what the country is?
So the country, very good question. We go, even when we have nice houses, whatever, we pack up everything on top of like trucks and cars and everything, and we go up to the country. It's like upstate New York, South Fallsburg, Monticello. A lot of really Heimish people go there. And even though in Williamsburg, Hampshire, we're very, very close. We're very, very close. But in the bungalow, we're even closer. Like, my neighbor goes, and I say, Tim Gesint. Like, we mamish hear each other every word. Every word.
I see.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm learning a lot about different neighbors and things. I'm not gonna say, but marriage, not so aye. Let's just say that.
I'm getting really curious. What's going on with the neighbors?
Should I tell you? Okay, Mrs. Spitzer, you know who she is from Hardware, Spitzer Hardware down the block? Yeah. Crazy Michigan. One time I heard her and her husband fighting. He said, I leave you enough spending money every week. She said, you think it's enough? $500 is enough. What could I do with $500? Tissue paper. And they were fighting. I didn't know how much they fight about money. He seemed like he was so generous. But I was wrong.
Maybe she needs to buy Versace.
Maybe she can't afford it. That's the problem.
Yeah, she can't afford the Gucci.
Don't say I said anything. Lucian, by the way, she's a very nice person. She's a very nice person. I don't want to Chazashul and talk Lucian. But between you and me, I understand why he doesn't give her money.
Oh no. We're going to have to censor her name because the whole world will know this terrible piece of gossip. Do you gossip a lot?
Her first name. It rhymes with Piriam.
You're so bad. Are you allowed to speak gossip?
No, but I'm getting in my Lucian Hooter before the 3 weeks. Because once the 9 days comes, it's serious. So just now, we're ladies to ladies, we're schmoozing.
I see. You know, I never went to the country, but it was my impression that it's a place of a lot of ladies to ladies schmoozing.
Sometimes schmoozing, sometimes cruising, but the ladies to ladies party are on point.
I see. What's your experience? How long have you been to the country?
Oh, since I got married. I went as a child my whole life. We went to Har HaManiches, it's a bungalow colony, and it was not Meniches, okay? Interestingly enough, Meniches means it was restful. There was nothing restful about that place. Everybody had 11 children minimal. I couldn't sleep. I shared a bunk bed with my 14 siblings, okay? Baruch Hashem.
Which part of this is true to Leah Forrester? Any of it?
Oh, well, she's gonna, whenever you're ready for her, she could join. But there happens to be, I think, look at my surroundings. I'm in the bungalow. Why do you think I come up here? In Williamsburg, I don't even have a patch of grass. Here in the country, I have frische Luft, which means fresh air. And by that, I mean not husband's ear, because he's not here Monday through Thursday, and it's very good times when he's not here.
Yeah, I see. I feel like Musband is a little famous. How does he feel about your social media presence and giving him so much attention?
Between you and me, he loves it. The more I kvetch about him, the more he loves it. Okay? He's Aberdach, he's a Jewish man. Their purpose in life is for us to have someone to complain about. They know that.
You seem like you have a great marriage, Bailey. I mean,
Bailey has a great marriage, but Bailey's a fictional character, so, hence the marriage.
Hence the marriage works so well. You have zero cynicism.
None. None. Listen, people want to know, like, who is Bailey? What is Bailey? Bailey is a character. How do you say? Character, sorry. A character that's created on pure love. She's a combination of your aunt, your cousin, your uncle, your neighbor. It's a little bit of everybody. She's the most annoying of everyone and the most loving of everyone. How could you not? Look at me. Just look.
What is the scar? I'm still trying to figure out the scar.
Oh, okay. Very good question. Because originally I came on with a turban.
Okay.
This is a turban, people, in case you don't know what it is. And the more choshev you are, which means the more honorary you are, the higher the turban.
Not.
I can't sit here the whole time in front of you with a turban. It's not sneeze. So, which is not modest. It's too, in fact, Frida, let's be real. I look a little seductive right now. I do.
It's true.
So
it's very true.
Very true. So I'm gonna add a tigel, and this is how you do it in the tznius way. We learned this in girls' camp, how to quickly undress in front of other people. You have to know what to zip on, a zip off. It's complicated. So I already had the tigel. I zipped it off. You don't even know. And then, hello.
Wow, so but there's too much red. There's too much red.
Listen, you have to know. Because let's say, like, Lamas, I'm sitting at the bungalow. Leah Foster's sitting at the bungalow. She's wearing shorts. But Bailey has a stroller.
Bailey wears a Dior shirt.
Dior, excuse me.
Dior, I meant.
Frida, if I may be so bold.
Oh.
I noticed your neckline. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
I'm just sorry.
Look at you immediately going to touch and fix. Wow, the trauma doesn't go away, does it?
I know. It does not.
As you know, I have many businesses in my basement, but I also offer many things as donations, My husband, you don't even know. When they check his ID, it says he's an orgasm donor, for real, okay? So long story short, we're good people. So I say this from the bottom of my heart, www.lackoftznius-is-totally-mias.com, which means if you're not modest, you are not the hottest. So just as I'm looking at your neck bone and all the men that are tuning in, I just want to make sure they're not distracted by your seductiveness of your neck. Just saying.
I appreciate the note.
Listen, it's not that I want to tell you. You think I want to tell you I care. I don't care. I care for you. I care for your neshama. Push it. Just plain. I just care.
Bailey, you're getting so real. I'm starting to think you're a real woman who really exists.
Let me be clear. That is totally Bailey. That is not Leah Forster. We're back.
There are plenty of women, I think, who offer such gratuitous kindness as to tell you to fix yourself here and there. They do sound very real.
Pleasure. I mean, every inch matters, Frida. Ask my husband. Every inch matters.
This is the least PG interview I've ever done. I'm enjoying it immensely.
And this is coming from someone in a Hasidische Heimish lady in a bungalow colony. How dare you,
I know,
Frida? How dare you?
I know. You're scandalizing me.
There are certain words. Oh, hi everyone.
Look at that.
There are certain words that are very scandalized. Or like they don't translate well in different languages. Like, did you ever hear of a pishkelmakerin?
No.
You ever heard of that?
A what?
A
No,
pishkelmakerin. That was a word my mother used to say as someone who likes to stir the pot a little bit. And that's what like a kochleffel, you know?
I see. Okay, yeah.
And I kind of think that Bailey has that a bit. She stirs the pot a little bit. You know, she's a little naughty and a little devilish, and she knows her entendres and she knows her little websites, and that's what makes her so endearing and so charming.
I love her. I find her to be so much fun, and for me, it comes from a place of, to me, like a lot of love and a lot of, getting under, pointing out some hypocrisies. And sometimes I feel like I learn more from watching Bailey about the Hasidic community than I learn from academic texts, because she embodies some, she embodies the relationship to her children, to her husband, that is very human. It's very funny because it's so human, She's my favorite character. Although all of your characters are, I watch your stuff all the time. I laugh so much. Shira Devora is so heartbreaking. But I'm familiar with her, Bailey.
When I do all my live shows and I explain to people that all these characters were born at different times in my life, but the bungalow colony, those chronicles really hit home with people because, okay, like for 1 second, okay, I'm gonna show you what it takes to become Bailey real quick, okay? So Chanel like this, okay? So in the bungalow colony, one of the hardest adjustments I've ever had to deal with is the social part. People are mamish snobs. I'm in a bungalow with snobs, Frida. Plain, proste, bullshit snobs. The other day, I'm on my porch and I see 3 ladies leaving and a taxi. Because, nobody drives in my bungalow. We're not one of those Medea in the bungalow colonies where ladies have cars. Nobody has cars, okay? They have to call buses and vans and trucks. So when they call a car service, because keep remembering, Frida, most of the people in our bungalow don't even have smartphones, can't even use Fruber.
What's Fruber? From
Fruber
Uber?
is my app. I created it with my husband. Fruber.com. It's like Uber, but from Uber. So we only match appropriate. Like we only have women drivers for women passengers because Chaza Shulam, nothing could happen between 2 women, as we know. So safer, of course. And you just call us and we arrange it for you, and you just pay us cash. So no food stamps accepted. So these ladies are going out, and I said, "Where you going?" And they start shushking one to the other. Nobody's saying nothing. I said, "Excuse me, where you going?" They said, "No, we're just going to, we're going for pizza." And then one whispers to the, and they go, "You want to come?" Like, now you're asking me if I want to come?
Wow.
Bamnila? You know what I mean, Bamnila? The last prayer of the high holidays? Kishmach. If you really wanted me to come, you would have invited me to come, but they didn't invite me to come. I'm sorry. I get really upset about this because it's so not Yashvisd. We talk about the Bison Migdash, which is the holy temple, being burned because people weren't kind. And yet here they are, going for pizza, as if I'm just nothing, not even gefilte fish. Anyway, that's an example.
What happened in the end? Did you make friends in in
You
the
see,
bungalow
you're
colony?
invested in the story. That's the point. You're invested in her story because
Completely.
that character came from true life. Growing up, my mother would like hush with her friends and be like, we're going on an outing and we have to invite her. I would hear them talk about this stuff. It was so funny to me. And I also wanted to be one of those ladies. Like, we had a ladies' circle. That was big. A ladies' circle. My whole life, all I wanted to do was be part of that lady circle. Those ladies had the most fun. But again, that was before internet, before fancy bungalows, before like, any of these advancements. It was just tiny little cute little bungalows, which I know exist today. I do.
There were a lot of people now live in like winterized homes though. The bungalow colony setup is like it still exists, but there are also the fancy full houses that exist. So tell me about this. What happened at the ladies' circle that was so enviable? I didn't go to the country. I only went to summer camp.
Why didn't your parents go to the country?
To the country because I grew up in Curious Joel, and it was already the country. So we didn't need to go. But I was shipped off to summer camp from when I was pretty young. So I
How
experienced,
young?
no, fourth grade.
Wow.
Fourth grade was my
So
first year.
for the listeners, for us, that's pretty standard going to camp at that young age. A lot of my friends and I did, and the boys too, for sure. But in the normal world, like in the secular world, let me clarify, not the normal, very not normal. Nothing is normal. But in the secular world, they don't go that young. Most kids don't go that young, or like it's more of an option not to, at least. I mean, our world, it's completely not an option. It's like most kids go unless they're in the bungalow colony. And I remember going to camp where there wasn't even an age yet for me. That's where Bela comes in. She's one of my characters that was created as a chutzpahnik. Because I went to camp at such a young age and I was quite brazen, just like Bailey is the adult version, and she's a kachlefel. Bela is also a kachlefel. And she knows exactly what she's doing when she finagles her way into like little conversations. And, that's where she was created from, the bungalow colony, that troublemaker girl. But my earliest memory of going to the bungalow colony was I was an entrepreneur way back then. I charged 25 cents a head, and I made night activities on my own. And I would sell out the center part of, like, the biggest space in the bungalow and have all the kids older than me, way older than me, and girls only, no boys allowed. And I would have tons of kids. I made real money. I even had barter systems. Like one of the kids were the Webbers for real, and their father owned the grocery store. We had a grocery store on premises. That was like luxury. No one else had that.
What did they sell? Like five things? A regular grocery store or a canteen?
Well, again, we thought it was amazing because we had nothing else to compare it to. But I remember he was such a good business guy that every time I walked in and I would ask for something and he didn't have it, he would say, "They don't make it. Doesn't exist." Like, and I believed him. I would be like, "Ma, they don't have 9 by 13s." She was like, "9 by 13s? Everyone has a 9 by 13." Actually, my
What
mother
is
didn't
that, a
really talk.
Becula?
A Becula. A
Oh, I
Becula,
see.
which is a
A
tin
Becula,
foil. Yeah, like an aluminum pan is a
an aluminum
Becula.
pan. The standard. 9 by 13 is like standard, right?
Exactly. So that's where Bela was born from. She was just a young little chutzpahnik, always a little brazen, always a performer, always loved attention, and always got in trouble. And unfortunately was never seen. She just wanted to be a little more loved. And since she didn't get that, she settled for attention.
What did you perform? What was your performance?
Oh my gosh, I would gather the kids in a circle and I would just sing like "Down by the bay," and they would answer, "Down by the bay where the watermelon grows, where the watermelon grows, back to my home, back to my home. I dare not go, for if I do." And they wouldn't do it right, and I would stop them and say, "No, do." And they would like older kids, younger kids. I'm telling you, the boys would surround, like they would like want to be part of it. And it would be like, "No, boys."
Because it was the country. It wasn't camp. It was the country.
It was a country, very different.
Wow. When did you
Life was
start to go?
very small. It was just our little grounds, just our pool, just our friends. Um, no outside influences at all.
How long were you there in the country? For
My
2
entire
months?
life. My
Your
entire
entire life?
life. In fact, when my parents sent me to sleepaway camp, I was sad because I wanted to stay in the bungalow. I loved it. I loved staying in the bungalow. Um,
But it was for just July and August every summer.
yeah, and my mother's not alive anymore, and sometimes especially when she was alive, a lot of resentment I had was actually around the summer in the bungalows because I so badly wanted to spend more time in the bungalow. But now I look, and my mother would do these really complicated things that I didn't understand at the time. She locked the bungalow when we went to camp. So when some kids were able to come home during the day to use the bathroom or get a snack, our bungalow was locked. I didn't have access to the bungalow during day camp hours because she didn't want us home. And at the time, that was very jarring. It made me sad, and I felt so rejected, like I'm not even welcome in my own house. But now, as an adult, I also understand that she also didn't get a break. She was also a young mother, and she also was like had a bunch of kids in, and bungalow was her time too to be free and to not for just a few hours a day to not have her kids like bother her with things they were away. And that's okay too. But at the time, I didn't see it that way. I just had resentment to not feeling like I was wanted at home. Just an interesting observation as an adult now.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I can see why you would feel that way as a kid. It's so hard for kids to understand what is on a parent of so many children, what is on a mother of so many children. So it was for her a highlight. For your mom, the country, was it a highlight?
Definitely. And that's why I wanted it so badly. Because the ladies in the ladies circle, and if your listeners are listening and are in the bungalow colony currently, you'll understand this. If you're in a real bungalow colony where you sit out every day and you schmooze and you build connections and you plan like one outing a week, and it's something fun like rafting or something to feel like childish again, then you get it. You get the magic of the country. It's kind of like a break from that like reality, and it's an alternate reality, a beautiful one, a sheltered one. But unfortunately today, these women are getting Amazon Prime packages morning, noon, and night. There was a time where when you left, you weren't thinking about clothes or tuition or school until you got back and you had no connection to it, only a phone at best. But today, everything's a click away. You already know who's going to be in your class and what your supply list is and what you need. And they're shopping online. There isn't a break. Nothing really changes. The social setting changes,
But it doesn't
but
have
nothing
that.
really changes.
How do you know? How do you keep up with what's going on now? How do you know how things are changing?
I have a lot of friends that are currently still in the community, and I love them a lot.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I love them more and more because I'm less scared to be myself. And I look back now at our friendships and I see that I'm the one that ran away. I ran away because I was so afraid of like what they would think or what they would say. But the friends that are my friends have been nothing but loving and amazing to me. So I value so much of the choices that they're making in their life because now that I'm not a part of that in that, I'm like, there's so many good values there. I'm not there. And also there's a lot I don't want from that community. But there's so many amazing values that I wish I was on the level that I could be that way. Because they're building beautiful lives. Like, I go to shul on Shabbos and I see these fathers coming with their kids. They let their wives chill and sleep in, and they take the kids to shul. And the kids learn to play with other kids and share and learn to be quiet when it's, like, important times, and they get used to a life of, like, simpleness and just, like, watching their dad pray and, like, playing with friends and just, like, whimsical things that really don't exist in modern civilization. So, I look at it and I say, "Wow." Like, "Wow that they do that, and I want that, and I wanted that." And those are such beautiful things. They are. Bungo Colony being one of them.
Yeah. Let's talk more about the bungalow colony, even though, this is such a big
Avada.
subject. Ahmad, you're
Go
so
ahead.
much fun. You're the funnest person ever. Do you have like a ton of energy?
It depends, but as it just so happens, I had such a crazy day at work. It was Meshiga Mitzvah, which is a step up of regular Meshiga. And didn't know what to do with my life. And then I remembered I had an interview, so I got exited because I thought, great, what an opportunity to share with the Oilam, let loose a little, and make a little differentiation between work and pleasure.
Is this pleasure?
Avada.
Oh, I see your shirt. Your shirt keeps changing. What happened to the dior, or what is it called?
You have so many questions, Frida. You should save all your questions for Pesach by the Seder, which is Passover by the meal. Then we ask questions. Save them questions.
Did you get this from Amazon Prime delivered to your bungalow?
No.
Nichi has the same thing.
Once a summer, some of the ladies, not the snobs, they take trips to go shopping. We take a bus. It's so much fun. Only the Babatisha ladies, and I take a little money every week that my husband gives me for spending money. He thinks I'm spending it on. I told him Epis needs an extra tutor and things with him. And I'm saving a little. And now I went to Woodbury. I bought myself little things. Last week I bought Burberry flats, Ballette flats, precious sugar. I can't even tell you. They're the cutest things. When I put them on my feet, I feel like there was a Rebbitzin in my shul I once had a crush on. She was such a cutie. I thought I looked like her, like a cute little Rebbitzin with little pitsy shoes and bows. Cute.
So who do you show it off to? Your ladies in the country?
Obviously, it's not like my husband gives a kokosh cake about anything in my life. I say, you like my shoes? Yeah. You think he's even listening? Think he's even looking? This man, all he does is farts, grabs, and kvetch. I can't. And the worst part about it, he called himself a griller. I'm a griller. He doesn't grill nothing. I spice it, I cook it, I prep it, I clean it. What does he do? Stick it on the grill. Timmich atoiva. Frida, I love my husband, but sometimes I wonder how much I love him. How much, like, what's the, stop just when I'm bored and I have nothing to think about. I think, let's just say he didn't come up for Shabbos to the bungalow because he missed his ride and he doesn't want to be Mechal Shabbos and he doesn't want to Chazashum, God forbid, not sanctify the holy Sabbath, And I thought, what if he doesn't come? Would it be the worst thing? Friday night, he doesn't come back from Tish, smelling like bronfen and whiskey, good Shabbos, and now I have to do mitzvahs? Like, would it be the worst thing in the world? If I had a night to myself, I don't know. P.S. Go to my website, www.shtipandip.com. It's a mikveh, and I'm a mikveh lady. I check every nook, every cranny, every crevice. And that's all. Nekovim, chalilim, chalilim. That's it.
What does that mean? Oh.
What does what mean?
Okay, no, never mind. I'm not pushing back.
You are not prepared for a lesson on the birds and the beasts.
The birds and beasts. I'm telling you, this is a very raunchy lady, this Bailey.
I do not appreciate your insinuations.
What else? Can you share more about life in the country? Do you like
Frida,
that your
you can't get rid of your Heimischkeit. What else? What else?
You know what else I do? I say wow. Wow.
Okay, so another thing over here is Jewish geography. Very popular. We have to know what's going on with everybody in everybody's life because, as you know, I'm a shadchan, so I'm a matchmaker. Always on the lookout to set up people. www.catchamatch.com. Send me your resume. Long story short, I'm always on the lookout over here for people, but let me tell you, you learn a lot about a person in a bungalow colony. You learn, are they serving on paper dishes? Or are they serving on plastic? Or are they serving on china? What's the plan? For example, today is Tuesday. Today's whatever day it is. but my husband's not here and the ladies aren't looking. So today I have a paper plate. But Chaz Strudel, someone should see someone of my stature with a paper plate? Never in a million. Melon. See what I did there? Style is something else, I tell you.
Oh, mine.
I go to my website, www.brucheswithbiley.com. We have yummy dishes you could order online. Parv, Fleischig's, diary, whatever. Okay, so another thing over here in the bungalow colony, a lot of people fight about men's hours in the pool, ladies' hours in the pool. It's Michigan. Some hot days, a woman's schwitzing. She needs to go swimming, right? But men and women, Chaz Shulam, can't swim next to each other. So there's a lot of fight. At 3 o'clock is a lady time. And we stand outside at 2:55, not a minute later. And we stand there. And sometimes the men are chitzpetig. They take risks. They stay longer. Well, I'm always the one and I say no. I'm going to stand there and start opening my top. And the men go running. They're so scared of Chaz Shulam Notzni. So I just go, yeah, you're welcome, ladies. Ladies need me here.
That's Biley who gave me the drusha. She lectured me on my immodesty just 5 seconds ago. Is there a little hypocrisy going on?
It's for the greater good, Frida. It's in the Torah. There was a woman who one time had to block a man from doing something. She showed her hair. Why? Why'd she do that? For the greater good. We women need our pool time, and I will not settle under any circumstances. Good day, Frida. Good day.
I'm happy that you're swimming, that your exercise is very healthy for you.
I don't do much.
No?
I flounce around like a salmon. But a salmon nonetheless.
It's good for you, even just flouncing around.
Sure.
Do you have hand
It's
tubes?
menichas and nefish, which means it's good for my mental health. You could go to my website, nekumawithyourneshama.com. I'm also a shtickle life coach. I also do dietitianing, whatever needed.
You must be spending so much on websites.
I have a person, a connection, gotati.com.
So do your kids swim with you? How does it work? When is it me time for a lady like you in the bungalow colony?
Oy, Frida, you're hitting on a raw nerve. A raw nerve, I tell you. When is me time? When is me time? I'm still waiting for the Rabban Shalom to tell me when. Leiby! See what I'm talking about? The other day, I go to the bathroom. I close the door. I look right, I look left. I say, finally, a peace of mind. No, Leiby's right there. I see you from under the tea. What are you doing? I wanted to tell him I'm getting a vasectomy. That's what I'm doing. But I didn't. Point is, it's tough out here with me time. I'm struggling. A whole week I finally have peace from my husband, but no, every day it's something else. Trani now called me from camp. I didn't give her the birds and the bees speech. She got a little ep or something. She didn't know it's flying.
Oh no.
I had to guide her. Don't worry, I sent it to my rabbits and they dealt with it. Point is, it's tough. I don't have me time. My husband comes up and drives me to sugar. This week he asked me if his mother could come here for Shabbos. You know, we have a 2-bedroom. Where's she gonna sleep? On the dach? I'm practically married to her anyway already, because everything is my mother this and my mother that. Let me live.
Does she not go to the Catskills, your mother-in-law, your schwieger?
She used to go, now she lets, now, and my sister-in-law uses it. And
I
believe
see.
me, they take advantage. You know, Frida, a mama should always get the worst end of this. This is what it's like to be in Gulas for a Heimish lady. We suffer. I don't live 1 minute of peace. By the way, I love that about Heimish ladies. The Chaz Shulam not allowed to admit that they're enjoying life. It's always like, yo, I can't, I never. Even when my mother used to get something new, I was like, Ma, this is so pretty. She'd say, this, it's old. I have it already. It's in my closet. Like, God forbid I should think that she's enjoying life for 1 second. what is that? It's the plight of the Heimish lady.
It can cause the evil eye if you have too many good things.
Crazy.
Wow. You've completely transformed, but you're having more fun as Bailey.
You think? Are you having more fun as Bailey?
Bailey gives me a tiny bit of anxiety when anxiety, yeah. When she
So I use this tichel for another character. So this character, some of you may know how. Her name is Shush.
Yeah, I know Shush.
So let me tell you something about Shush. As I'm just adjusting my mitpachat. So when I was in high school, I had a teacher, איך אומרים teacher? מלמדת. תודה. אז she tell for me, she was a substitute. She says, Leia, either you leave or I leave, but somebody's leaving this room. And like in my head, I was like, either you leave or I leave. And she was teaching us about Mitzrayim, and she was like, Shalosh Shinu, they not changing their clothes. So that's how Shush came to be. And then when I went to Israel, and a lady on the avenue, like on one of the and one of the corners, was like, Slicha, you want to try my moisturizer from the Dead Sea? I was like, no way, that's real? Like, that's a real person? 20% off for you, mamash, come here. Come, let me show you. You very nice skin. But a little pimple, איך אומרים pimpel?
It's so real. This.
Yes, it's so real. And then there's Shir Deborah. So Shir Deborah, it's not a good one. It's not right. Okay, but Shir Deborah is like, she's like 19.
She's a pup.
Actually, no, she's 20. She totally lied. She is 20 and she is single. She went to Pisakov. So for Frida, I'm assuming Pisakov was like modern for you.
Yeah, it was very modern for us.
So, okay, fine. So modern. But for us, like we were considered like super from. Sorry, I'm not going shy. Anyway, so Shir Deborah, she's 20. She's looking for a good boy. Not a man in finance. She's maybe looking for a father-in-law in finance so that, they could support their lifestyle. But whatever's meant to be is meant to be. I mean, obviously I know I exaggerate the character, but I've met so many people that actually like talk like that. And when you ask them what they're looking for, like single girls, and they're like, I want someone who's close to his mother, but not like obsessed with his mother, and someone who's tall, but not like the tallest in the room, like Ogma Bashan vibes, but like tall. And someone who appreciates the finer things in life, but not someone like super spoiled. You know what I mean? So that's Shira Deborah. Oh my. So that's Shira Deborah. And I built this character based on the amount of girls that I know that speak like that till this day. And they're so fun. And it's almost like a combination of an influencer, like a regular influencer, whose entire life is a performance. And in a way, Shira Devorah's performing. She's getting married. She's been a breast behavior.
Yeah, that is true. She's constantly performing the role, even her role of being desperate for marriage for the husband. Like she's crying at 19 or crying at 20 because she's so old. Yeah, that's like part of the role she knows she needs to fulfill. I want to keep on the topic of the bungalow. Did Shira Devorah go to the bungalow colony? To the country?
Shira Devorah was a head counselor in Camp Machanufinu.
Of course.
So it's funny that you should ask because her theme, her year when she was head counselor was colors, rainbows.
Wow.
But she didn't have that like rainbows means like something else. And someone asked her, like, "Are you an ally?" And she was like, "Do you mean like Mila Shem ally?" Yeah, totally. So she didn't like hop, but I sort of did like a whole like my theme was like colors. So it was like red and orange, green and blue, 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 green and blue. Whatever. Sticky stuff. It was really sticky.
You
Yeah.
or Cheer Dvora?
Shir Dvora. Shir Dvora.
Oh, got it, got it,
And
got it,
then when
got it.
Shir Dvora went to camp, she had like a small little like tkufa, which is like a small little phase, like not a major one, a little one, where she liked another counselor, and they both were like really close, and they hugged and stuff. It was cute, and they don't talk anymore because other girl got married. And because so they were really close, but that's what she wants to get married, you know? Yeah.
Because her ex-lover got married.
I wouldn't say ex-lover so much as like she would have been perfect if she would have been a boy. You know what I mean?
That's also part of the Country Chronicles.
Totally
Country
part
Chronicles.
Of it. This is the other part of the Country Chronicles.
Uncensored.
Spelled a little differently.
What memories do you have of summer camp?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I started off the first camp that I went to is called Camp Fega. I don't think it exists anymore. It was in Parkville, super cool camp. Really funny that when I was younger, I pulled the fire alarm in camp one night in the middle of the night because we had this OD. They were called these on-duty staff members that were like Shira Devoras in training, and their job was to walk around and make sure that everybody was sleeping. And they would have these huge flashlights, and they would like shine it in people's faces and be like, "You." And so I was a little kid, and if somebody says to you, "When I turn around, I don't want to hear a peep."
Oh.
What do you think Bela's gonna do? Think of my other character. I'm gonna say,
of course.
"Peep." And so the OD whips around like, "Who said that? Follow me." And and so that's where that's where Bela comes from and that character comes. That was my first memory. And so on the way out, I saw this thing that said, "In case of emergency, please pull." So I pulled it. And I had the entire camp Fega. It was 2 a.m. out at a fire drill thinking that there's something going on. So you're talking about all these married staff that would never come out without a snood, like, and like I was standing in the center of the field going. So Camp Fega had this thing called the quarantine area, and they had something called an isolation room. And I was escorted to the isolation room where I remained 4 days, where I would get like food at the door, and I had to peek at stuff from outside the window. Yeah.
Did it break your spirit?
I look back now and I'm like, that was such a normal way for people to, at least in my surroundings, for people to discipline. That was very like normal. That's how we disciplined. We punished, and it totally crushed my spirit. Like I was isolated. I deserved it, right? I was bad. And I definitely deserved reprimanding and I deserved guidance, but, I think they were just ill-equipped. Like I said, I think often of my parents in the bungalow colony and how my mother had just the summer to herself. And I think both of their parents were Holocaust survivors. Like, I know we don't want to go there, but like, that's a whole bunch of trauma. And then they had a bunch of kids. And then I did the same thing. And then I had a kid. And then my kid was part of that trauma, So it's understandable. And the hope is that with like emotional maturity, people really grasp that it was just isolated communities and just certain individuals. Because, like I said, my friends in the community now don't have those experiences. Well, Jack the handbag guy, he's a real guy. A lot of bungalow colonies, like I said, the women don't drive. So businesses have discovered, just like Bollywood, that it's much smarter to have people come down to the bungalow colony. And so you have from back in the day Izzy's Knishes that would scream, Izzy's Knishes, come and get it. And you'd run with your dollar bill crunched up in your hand and hope for a knish.
Was it like an ice cream truck?
Ice cream truck, exactly. Then they got fancy schmancy. Now they have sushi, now they have everything. Verschiedene Sachen, they have everything. So there's this Jack the handbag guy. He comes around. I've got Gucci, I got Prada, I got Fendi. And all the ladies save their extras and come down, and he has all the best product. And the ladies even flirt with Jack. But Jack, I want the Versace ones. All right, for you, it's gonna be another $50. There's nothing I can do about it. Jack, meet me halfway. 20. My husband doesn't leave me a lot of money. Such forth. But think of it like a shuk in Israel, but a shuk in the bungalow. It's lively, it's exciting, there's in the atmosphere, every penny. And then there's different, there's the dry goods boss, they come out and then they have sacks and budgies if people need, and gotchas, which are undergarments for anyone who needs. Lots of things.
We had
but
in
now a
Monroe.
lot of bungalows.
I was going to say we had in Monroe the
What?
Chutmensch. We had the Chutmensch. Did you hear of the Chutmensch?
No, tell me.
He came with around the blocks with chuts. You know what chuts are? They're
No way,
these
berets?
berets.
That's adorable. That's Sugarino.
Hair clips. I know. So Yanchi. Adorable. And we
So
all
cute.
came. It was so exciting. Yeah.
Sometimes I need a beret because, as you know, in our community, we totally shave all our hair. But sometimes I leave a little bayur, which is just like a little front here, just so something to knip onto, to grab onto. So in such force, I get 2 shots like that, and nobody knows nothing and water.
How is
How-
husband about it?
He drives me meshega. He tells me, you're not a boy. Why do you have pious? Why do you need bayur? But then he kind of likes it. So, it's exciting in our house.
Very, very exciting stuff going on. I really like the romance, that the flirting that goes down with the bag seller. What makes a Hasidic lady accent? What is the...
It's a very good question. And I have to be honest with you. This summer, I got internet. Please don't tell anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, I told Maruv I need it for my mental health a little bit. So I got a head temporarily just for the summer, because my husband temporarily for the summer did something with his secretary. So we're figuring it out. Long story short, I'm in the bungalow. When I'm telling you about the internet, what did I want to tell you about it? It's very
What-
important.
About the accent for a Hasidic lady on the internet.
So I started watching a bunch of shows, and one of them I was watching was a show called Srugen. And there's a character on there, this girl that leaves the Haredi, which is the very religious little community, and this actress copies her, tries to figure out her movements. And she like hunches over and she walks like this. And the girl looks at her and says, I don't look like that. I don't talk like that. It's like, I'll tell you, Frida, kind of, when you tell me that what's a Hasidic lady accent, I say, excuse me, I don't have an accent. You have an accent. Yours is goyish. My accent is perfect. But if I'm going to be real, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit losing my touch. It means I'm not spending enough time around Hasidic people. And sometimes I find myself digressing into a more Spanish type of Oriental, I don't know, something, but it's because I get so excited and Leia already, her brain is already in different directions. But fundamentally, the accent of a Hasidic woman, or a man even, is we kind of took Yiddish and we just sprinkled it with English. But fundamentally, it's still Yiddish. And pretty much that's how a Hasidic lady lives their life. See, the regular world walks around and they give pieces of themselves to every part of the world. Hasidic people, they take pieces from every part of the world. And the focus is them and their communities. They don't get lost in the cracks of social media and politics and this and that and garbage. They're at home.
Yeah.
Except for my husband. He's not. This summer
He's with the
wasn't at home, but
secretary.
secretary. Yeah. Frida.
It looks like life is good for you, Bailey. You like the country.
I love it. And let me tell you, every time my husband is a little bit of philanderers, I make sure he's a philanthropist.
I see. I see. There's an arrangement going on. What is the reaction of Hasidic people to your Bailey character?
When I'm walking around like myself, Leia, there's no reaction because they wouldn't know it's me. They pass me right by. But the minute they say, "What's your name?" and I say Leia Foster, they go,
"Really?"
Now, I can't say that's for everyone, but it depends. Generally, Hasidic, like typical Hasidic that like get my clips through the clip circle, clip and curl, they don't know how to receive me, kind of, because I'm like an exaggeration of their norm.
Yeah.
They kind of see themselves in like probably a little bit of a negative light. And the truth is that as a comedian, I do that on the other side as well. I have clips where, I post like, hi, my name is Melody and I'm non-binary and I'm aromantic, apolyamorous, asexual, ABCDEFGHIJKLMNOP, and I get people on that side that feel that I'm a little too much too. And and I've decided that I'm living my best life. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do what I love. I'm obviously not trying to hurt anyone. And if you know me and you know where I come from, then you'll know that my intention is only to put light onto the world. And I do that in my way. It doesn't hit for everyone, and that's all right.
When I spoke to you for our first interview, which was right after October 7, it must have been like October 10 or something. I remember it was like right after. It was a really raw time. One of the things you raised was what's allowed. What's allowed? Are you allowed to do this accent or are you allowed to do that accent? I feel like you've been questioning what's allowed and you came out on the other side of I am going to do my work as I feel is right and is okay. And I am very, I love it. I'm very, and not only am I entertained, but I'm also very inspired because it is hard to do your thing and to speak up, and people take offense. Other people get when it's comedy, but people will inevitably take offense, right? You can't make people laugh without other people uncomfortable or whatever. Not everyone has a sense of humor or is going to take humor the same way. So for me, it's very meaningful to see you get into these characters, and even if we live in a time where it's comedy, it feels to me like there's a lot of things you're not allowed to do. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You know what I'm going to say? Wow.
Wow.
I'm trying to work on not saying wow. It's such a like Monroe thing, saying wow.
Do you feel it though? Do you feel when you say wow, do you feel wowed?
No, well, I feel like it's like it's a filler word. But when I re-listen to interviews and I'm saying wow every 5 seconds, I think it doesn't translate to people who don't come from a world where wow is a filler word. It doesn't
Hmm.
sound like a filler word to them.
So really interesting. I have a business coach. Like I have a career. I was here before. So for those new listeners, like comedy is like a thing that I do for fun. I'm very lucky that I have the opportunities I have. But in business, my coach was actually pointing something out. I've been sending her some of my sessions, recorded sessions of my that I have with my team I'm the leader and the sessions I have with them. And her feedback to me was that I'm afraid of silence. I feel the need to fill any unstructured moment with small talk. So it will be like, uh-huh, wow. So, oh, nice, 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 And I do these constant things because I'm so afraid of the silence. But the truth is, I'm missing things in that silence. And I'm starting to listen more. Like these interviews are more enjoyable now because I'm listening to your questions, I'm listening to your feedback. Um, and I'm okay with the silence. Like it gives us a moment to like digest what's up, you
Yeah,
know?
I know. Silence is hard. I find it hard also.
Same. Same, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm working through it because I'm realizing that there's something really great waiting for me in silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with my employees, oftentimes they'll tell me something and my immediate response is I have to fix it or solve it or but the more I let them talk, even when there's space, they'll usually say something, they'll be quiet and then they'll go, and another thing. And in that another thing, I hear more. I get more feedback and more stuff. So it's my silence that's giving space to what is? And so between us, like, it's cool that, like, wow, might just be like, wait a sec.
Wow. For you also it's wow as in amazing. It also means that I really enjoy talking to you. You're such a fun
Wow.
person. Well, where can we send people to your I'm going to link your Instagram and your TikTok. What else? Should do you have something that we can promote?
My Instagram is at Leah Forster. My bookings are at Leah Forster. Majority of what I do is private events. A lot of private birthday parties, a lot of private events for individualized, like so like birthday kids, anniversaries. I mean, those are my favorite things to do because the smaller audiences, like you really connect, and that's the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So always love to make people laugh. And those of you that are watching that have gone down memory lane, it gets better, people.
How so?
Well, I have the option of yes wearing tichel or no wearing tichel.
Oh, I
Life is full
see.
of choices.
It's wild. Well, thank you so much, Leia and Bailey and Bailu and the whole cast that joined us today. It was so very much fun. And I'm gonna link your Instagram and your TikTok. And I want to thank all the viewers and all the people on the podcast so much. Thank you.